Welcome to Kaleidoscope. Let's talk. While culturally, Sri Lankans would rather not talk about cancer, the big C, the truth is that cancer is extremely common. In 2022, over 33,000 new cancer cases were reported, an incidence of 106.9 per 100,000 individuals. This Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we need to pull off the covers. How does it impact us? What recourse do we have? I invited development professional Kamanee Hapugalle into the studio last week to find out more about her personal experience with the big C. Kamanee, your story is a double whammy. Your husband was diagnosed with cancer and then you. How did you find out about yourself?
One morning in February when I was having a wash, I just was feeling, I just soaping myself and I felt a little marble sized thing that was moving around. And I thought, well, this is not something that should be in me. And I didn't panic at that time, but I figured, I hadn't had any pain or any kind of drawing sensation. So I knew that I needed to get this addressed. So I spoke to my husband and I said, let's, go and get it tested. And he sprang into action, because of his background, his knowledge in cancer, and having gone through all his experiences. So we went and got a mammogram done, and from there we just, diligently took the next steps that we had to. The lady who did the mammogram knew that, she's seen so many films, Savi, so she knew that it was not something that should be in my body, it was a nasty, and so she immediately referred me to an oncologist, and she said, why don't you go immediately? Just have a conversation and see where it takes you. And so that's what I did.
Mentally, you had a lot to deal with. How did you cope? What was most challenging?
It's not uncommon to feel sorry for yourself, to go through all those, myriad of emotions that you go through. Mother, 92 years old, family, 2 children, husband, who's just coming out of all those, cancer-related experiences and things like that. And then yourself, so you have finances, household, so many things that come into your mind and you're trying to deal with it all at once. And it overwhelms you. You can't say that it doesn't overwhelm you. So what I did was I took a couple of days to kind of process all this information that I got from the doctors, from friends, and everyone who had some information about my diagnosis. So I just took those 2 days and decided to let everything kind of settle in me. But having seen my husband go through all this and knowing he's come out of it gave me that much strength. He's my inspiration, Savi, So he just gave me that courage and he said, look, we can deal with it. Look at me. I live to tell the tale. So that's what we are doing, We just went through everything knowing that we are living in an era where science is advancing so fast and there is so much research being done, particularly in the areas of breast cancer, cervical cancer, age-related cancers, and that we are fortunate to have so many treatment options available. So it's with the thought of winning over cancer that I went into it. There were moments that, all the negativity would flood into your mind. So it's not to say that, that we didn't have to deal with all of that. Even when my husband was going through all that, we dealt with it. But having had those experiences helped a lot. Because you also do your own research. I think that's what we need to do. When you're a human being, you're vulnerable to all kinds of illnesses and diseases. And as you get older, you need to be a little bit more proactive in terms of gaining information. And there is so much out there. There is absolutely so much out there that you can educate yourself. And things that have been put very simply as well. There are so many people you can talk to as well who've been through the journey. That way, you can, check with them about the treatment options, about the side effects of treatment, about diet. So, I was so blessed in so many ways. One is early detection, Savi. Second is that I had already been through the experiences with my husband, so I knew that this is not something that you need to, overwhelm you or let it get you down. You should not fight the good fight, you know.
So again, oodles of information out there. How do you filter this?
The most important thing here would be to first diagnose and get to the type of cancer that you have or that you have been diagnosed with, and then look at the treatment options for that particular type. Because if you take, for example, breast cancer, there are various types of breast cancers, but the options should be tailor-made for that particular, because you're looking at the behavior of the cancer, you know, whether it's aggressive, whether it's, you know, whether it's a slow-growing cancer, whatever. So you need to make sure that your treatment, what you're reading, is around what you have been specifically diagnosed with. But it is also reading up about the effects of treatment and the alternatives that are available out there, mostly to reduce the impact of treatment. Because treatment, you know, you're trying to fight a terrorist that is inside of you, and so you use your you know, all your weapons that's available to you. But in that whole thing, you are also making sure that you know, the treatment also makes sure that other good cells are affected. So you need to be smart enough to look at how to protect those good cells and how to rebuild your immunity. So there are other alternatives like the Ayurvedic system, for example, that's available for you. So you need to really, you know, see what is appropriate for your type of cancer, the behavior of your cancer, and then make sure that you listen to your, you know, the specialists out there. And then also read up about the alternatives that are available.
So your cancer, what was it and what was your treatment?
So I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, and for that, there is a limited amount of treatment available, and you're supposed to go through chemo if it is a large size tumor to reduce the size of the tumor, and then you're supposed to do radiation and then take the tumor out surgically. I did it a little differently. I wanted it out of my body. I didn't, because I was told that it is an aggressive form of cancer, so I did surgery first, and I took the tumor out. And so what happens then is that they send the tumor and a wider margin for biopsy to look at whether the margins have been infiltrated and whether your lymph nodes, whether it has gone to the lymph nodes also. So fortunately for me, my margins were negative, and the sentinel lymph node closest to the tumor was also negative. My biopsy came back saying it's an early stage cancer. It's stage 1, just over stage 1 actually, small sized tumor. And I decided I will go through a full body PET scan, and that's where I went through to ensure that I was not dealing with any other nasties in my body. So the PET scan came negative as well. And so these are the blessings that I kind of look back and thank God that I didn't have to deal with anything else. So I decided that I'll take the least invasive form of treatment. I decided not to go through chemo, but I did go through 22 days of radiation.
So Kamanee, between your husband and you, you've dealt with multiple types of cancer. What is the biggest lesson you learned in all this?
Most important would be to ensure that you go through regular testing for things that women or men are vulnerable to. Second point would be to educate yourself. There's so much. You don't need to be a doctor. You don't need to wait till it happens to you. You don't need to, you know, feel sorry when it does happen to you. It's important just to be aware, be educated, and to make use of all the resources out there, the people out there. You may not ever need it. Hopefully, nobody else will need to have the information that I have, but it's important to share that information. It's also an opportunity to educate other people.
How are women with breast cancer viewed by society?
More than society viewing women, it's women viewing themselves also. Like sometimes you tend to look at yourself as an unfortunate person or karma, this is, an act of karma. Whatever it might be, I think it's really important to not judge yourself and to have that support structure to withstand anything that society says to you. So, yes, women may be looked at as anepao, unfortunate woman kind of thing. But I think that's changing a lot because of the prevalence, Sabi. Almost every family now is affected, impacted by cancer in one form or another. And there's so much knowledge out there. So I think the level of discrimination or the level of feeling sorry or sympathetic towards the woman who has been diagnosed is less. And there's a lot more support now, which is, again, I say we're living in an era where things are changing so rapidly that people are a lot more aware, and the support systems are, kick in very quickly. I was so fortunate. My family was supportive. My friends were so supportive. So I didn't ever feel that I had to deal with this alone.
What is your advice to women who actually get that news?
I mean, share it with the closest possible person first, and closest possible people. I remember when I told my husband that we need to go and get tested. He, you first go into denial saying it can't be because I'm the one, because in his case it was he who had been diagnosed with, triple cancer, 3 cancers. And in my case, I think he said, no, it can't be, it must be just something, either way, let's go and get tested. So, or let's go and get the mammogram done. And so we did go for that. And I think in his case, he kind of wanted to suddenly be the person who was taking control, because over a number of years, actually, a long period, I was like the stronger partner of the two. And so then suddenly he had to assume that role. And so he decided that he was going to tell the children about the cancer, which was, for me, I think that was the hardest point, because as children, they had seen their father go through a really difficult time, but come out of it. And then they always depended on me to give them the strength to go through life and to, just to deal with everything that we had to deal with as a family. And suddenly we had to now tell them that I was diagnosed. And so he said, don't worry, I'll tell them. And so he summoned a family meeting and sat the children down, and he opened his mouth and he couldn't go any further because he broke down, really, because he couldn't really come to terms with the fact that his strongest support was now being diagnosed with cancer. And so I thought, no, I mean, I said, Andrew, you're my inspiration. You have shown us how to deal with it. You've been diligent in your treatment and your medicines and everything else, and you've come out strong now. You're the stronger partner now. It's just something that we have to deal with as a family. And I told the children, oh, don't worry. And I told them exactly what I told you. So much of research has been done on this particular type of cancer. And there's so many treatment options. And we'll just go through it, as a family and come out the other way.
Did you know that Kaleidoscope is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn? Follow, like, and subscribe for more.